Hey, everybody, it's time again for the Mikey and Al podcast. I'm Mikey.
And I'm Al.
And I'm John.
Exactly. Today's episode is brought to you by Empire Original Designs. You can reach them at jointheempire.com. They do challenge coins. And what they do is they create these coins for first responders, military, everything of that nature. They are the one place to go if, in fact, you need anything in this design. And we actually have one of Mikey and Al.
And Al. I'm showing the Al side because I can stand to look at that side.
Where's the mic side?
I got to show the Mikey
but I
side,
can't stand to look at it.
Oh, it looks
Keep
great.
it in my palm.
Let me see the
Look
outside.
at Mikey's
these are
side.
actually done very well.
Wow.
Mikey looks like a Greek god in
Yeah.
this, does he not?
Yeah.
Al looks
He
like
really
a
does.
100%.
serious, upstanding member of the community.
Yeah, that's a whole lie.
You do.
But we'd like to give this to our guest, John. We have John Grande in the studio today.
How are you?
John is a very well-known artist in his own right.
Very much so.
In
Yes,
certain
so
circles?
we wanted to bring John in today.
We want to pick his brain.
Absolutely, as our commitment, as
There's
we
only
said.
a little left.
As
Well, we're
we-
trying to pick what little's left.
As we said at the
Hopefully it
beginning of the
lasts till the end of
year,
the show.
we're gonna, we want to bring on new, people that we feel within their particular industries have done well to try to get an idea how they got there, what their journey's been. So I think John absolutely fits this criterion. We want to give this to John as well, a little commemorative
Thank you so much.
coin. I can't even say that.
What's
anymore,
It's,
I have to slow
It's a
down.
challenge.
commemorative?
I'm missing a
That's
couple
what it is.
teeth.
Commemorative, yeah.
Yeah, commemorative.
I thought you said it was a challenge.
It is a challenge coin. I call it commemorative, but
Challenge
challenge
meaning.
challenge meaning
And
that's
we
a good
challenge
question.
you to come on the show again.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Do I have to give it back?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's get into it.
You know what's cool? It's two heads, so you could call heads or tails. You know what I mean? It's one of
That
those
is
trick
true.
coins as well.
That is true.
You know what they say? Two heads are better than one.
You too. I'm just going to
That's
sit back and let you guys talk.
That's true. That's true.
So we have.
Wait.
Okay.
I have two
got
gifts for you
stumbled.
guys.
Oh, you do. We're
So
giving
these are
gifts out.
T-shirts that my wife makes. We
Very
have a
nice.
company called Pleasure is Coming.
Okay.
So we have one here.
How's that spelled?
Pleasure is coming. COMING.
Oh, all right. I didn't know what kind of
Yes.
company.
No, it's an apparel company.
Oh, okay.
We do mats, yoga mats. We do mugs. We do T-shirts, all basically off of my work.
Very nice.
So it's merchandise. So I don't know who wants what. There's this one here,
Uh-huh.
You got the Joker on a dollar bill?
the Joker on the dollar bill, because it's funny money.
Mike, you take
Pretty
first dibs.
sweet.
Can we trust
Mind
what's
away.
going on with our money these days?
No, we can't.
I don't know.
No, because this used to be $50
Yeah.
like 2 years ago.
Exactly. And then I got another one here,
Yeah,
which is
Basquiat.
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 Very nice. Which
Yeah,
one do you
Alex.
want?
And then I brought another.
Uh-oh. We got a third option.
Yeah, no, it's just.
Oh, Basquiat.
Yeah, because I remember I gave Alex one a while ago, but I don't remember
Oh,
which one I gave him. So,
that's cool
These
as
are
shit.
very
This
cool.
is complete pop art. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a real deal.
well, you know,
And how long you been doing the apparel?
3-4 years now.
You have.
We started it during when COVID hit. We would do masks.
Is that Bill Shakespeare?
That is Benjamin Franklin.
Oh, it is. You just kind of. I thought you
Yeah.
took like
Who did you say it was? Bill who?
Bill Shakespeare.
Bill
It's an
Shakespeare.
old buddy of mine. Yeah, William Shakespeare. I'm like, he's got the same hair as
Yeah, it's
Franklin.
Benjamin Franklin. I did a whole bunch of those as art pieces.
Beautiful.
That is cool, right?
Yeah.
We also have some checkout.
It's serious, man.
It is
Real
serious.
serious. I love it. I'm gonna put it on right now. You guys carry on.
You think you're going to get that on?
Is this X-rated?
I don't
or
Oh,
think
no.
so.
We got to watch this. I want to see him get that shirt on.
Can we get some music?
I know. We need some
You know
background music with that. There we go. We'll slap it on like that.
I just realized it's not a 2X. And I'm just gonna sweat even more.
So you need a 2X? I can get you a 2X.
I do, but I mean it's a goal to fit into this one.
There you go.
So there you go.
I
Well,
come,
that's
I come
true.
with goals.
But I love the artwork, man. It's like real
Thanks.
severe.
I like it a lot.
It's sort of in your face.
So where does that concept come from?
It came from Occupy Wall Street back in the day.
So I remember that.
Right? I was playing with the idea of money and who was handling our money and what was going on with the money. So I did probably about 20 of those with different makeup on Benjamin Franklin.
That was
almost like a character or a thief of sorts.
Did you ever make it down there to Occupy Wall Street? That whole area?
I don't do a lot of people.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff. I think I walked by and.
Me too.
That's enough, right?
Kind of scuffed at it, and I was like, okay, look at these people with tents.
What was the park that they were occupying? It was right there.
It was right by Century 21.
Exactly. They had the whole area.
Park.
They turned it into a makeshift little tent city. It was crazy. Yeah. It was amazing how they even let it get to that point. You know?
Well, I think they had to.
Well, yeah, that's true too.
You know.
Yeah.
It was like a Hoover
politically. Yeah.
A Hoover village, right?
Yeah.
Something like that from the Depression era.
In New York,
Edgar Hoover.
Yeah.
Yeah, J. Edgar.
In the city, you can pretty much do whatever the fuck you want nowadays.
President Hoover at the time?
I think, I don't know. Well, it's the reason for the CIA, I believe.
Just ruined the whole conversation.
Where did Hoover come in? I don't even know where that came from.
Well, they let a bunch of homeless people just kind of put up little
they
shanties.
weren't homeless.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. There's a lot of them there that look like they were back in the 60s.
If they weren't, they might have moved. How long did it last?
Well, who else does that kind of activist stuff, right?
Because I never went down there to see.
It was
I saw
crazy.
A couple tents on the outskirts, but
it was crazy.
Were they taking up Washington Square Park or something?
It wasn't Washington Square Park, but it was similar. It was right down there.
You could probably
over
Google
Century
it
21.
And find it's right between Century 21 and another.
I walked through that park, and they had little. It was almost back. It looked like it was back in the 60s. They had little groups, and they were like having little discussions about, the government and how money works and how the little guys get in the shaft. And they try to do it right by the Wall Street area, to sort of be like, fuck you to all these Wall Street guys.
It's right off Broadway.
Yeah, right off
Broadway and something.
So just make yourself a nuisance. This kind of thing, or no?
Yeah, well, you know what? Not in their minds. In their minds, they were doing, they were revolutionizing.
They were activists.
Yeah,
they were activists.
They kind of were,
right?
Well, activism's not clean, and it's not pretty.
Yeah.
No.
You know what?
It was no summer of love in 2020, but,
No.
I actually, after I saw that, I think I did. I went to GoDaddy. I was like, you know what? I want to get OccupyWallStreet.com, And I think I tried to do it, and it was like valued at $75,000 already. So some people take advantage of that shit.
People jump on it. Yeah. Domain names.
Yeah,
right?
they see a little, little.
You should have did Occupied.
Yeah, Occupied or something like that. But it was crazy down there for a period of time. But you know what? A lot of it was, artistry kind of a thing. Sort of falls into not your particular genre, but I mean, to be an artist is, you have to have some kind of creativity and what
I would say drive
and creativity. So I mean, when did you at an early age did you say, hey, you know what, this is what I want to do, or how did it develop?
No, I was just always drawing.
Okay.
Like my parents didn't know what to do with me.
Okay.
Nobody in my family. I would just sit in the corner and draw.
Okay.
I draw out of whatever I had. I was drawing Kiss characters. I was drawing on aluminum foil.
Okay.
My social studies teacher gave me a D. My mother asked him why I got a D. He said because he's got his drawings in his book. If it was an art class, he'd get an A. But
well, you probably did get an A in art class.
I did.
Yeah.
What'd you get in the other classes?
All D's and
So you were an artist.
Yeah,
From an early age, you knew.
Yeah. So that's your calling at an early age. Okay.
Yes, but I mean,
you didn't know.
Who knew anything? Right?
Yeah.
My parents didn't know anything about art or. I had those little Monet posters up in the house from my mom.
Right. Were they supportive?
Dad sort of scoffed at it.
Yeah.
My mom was, because she's my mom. My dad was, he didn't know what to make of it. He didn't know what to make of me. I don't think I still don't think
I think that's that's normal, I think, nowadays, in terms of, family or parents and their kids trying to, either support them or not. In whatever endeavors, and some parents are very supportive. Others,
well, I think he was supporting in his own way because he wanted me to be safe. So he wanted me to get a job and
security,
health security, all that stuff.
Yeah. That's what we all
like if your kid wants to be an artist, it kind of like your son wanted to be a director for like a half a year, right?
Yeah.
You're happy that he doesn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, you do think about that because it's a tough road.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah, and you got to really live, eat, breathe, everything of that nature to even go in that direction because if not, you may be 15, 20 years down the road.
Like I should have been a plumber.
Exactly.
Really? Jeez.
Yeah, the plumber's got a 80-foot yacht down in Florida and
he
he's
goes
living on the
boating
water
with his family.
Exactly.
Yeah, they go boating.
Exactly.
And if there's a leak,
and guess what?
Plumber.
Oh, he fixes it.
They fix it right there.
Damn Skippy.
Guess who's cleaning the
Naughty barters.
Guess who's cleaning the barnacles off his boat?
His wife.
Oh
No.
John.
It's the guys who
I was wondering. I thought it was a trick question.
No, it's the guys who are out there who's who probably put a lot of time and effort, but it didn't go in the right direction for him.
Yeah.
We
don't really love it. Or it's okay to chase a rainbow as long as you love the rainbow.
They make a lot of money, those barnacle cleaners.
But or you got a plan B. It's probably good to have a. But then again, can you be fully invested if you have a plan B? That's another question.
I don't think so.
See?
No, it's all or nothing, right?
It's all or nothing.
It's like you're gonna put it all out there. You're gonna put 80% out there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think
exactly. I mean, my dad told me to even go drive a bus.
Really?
He worked at the MTA. He said, go drive a bus.
Yeah. That's when you're like, fuck you, Dad.
Yeah, you're like, geez, I've seen, because then you'll see the misery that your dad had over the years on yourself right away.
Coming home, driving all the way to Brooklyn and back. And, we lived out on Long Island, so.
Yeah. That's when you're.
Like, he went from JFK to home, and then he decided to work for the MTA, and he was going into Brooklyn, where there were no trains. So it was like leaving at 5 o'clock in the morning, going there, coming home.
How long's the commute?
Jesus. I don't know, probably an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah. Wow.
Depending
it's the same
on
from
traffic.
up here.
Depending on traffic, especially going home, rush hour, forget about it.
But that's where your father or whatever, your parents, if you're fully invested, I mean, they got to give in at some point and give you that opportunity.
He had no choice.
So,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So, so now you went through that. So at an early age, you were doing some drawings, that kind of a thing. Then maybe high school went by.
High school, also art class, also got C's and D's.
Okay.
I was happy with a C. I was like, just give me a C. I don't really care.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
I think something inside of me knew that it was all bullshit. So I was just really focused on just drawing. I was drawing the desks on whatever I had.
Okay.
I was always drawing.
And then post high school, didn't you go to college?
After high school, I didn't want to go to college.
Okay.
My mom wanted me to go to college to get out of the neighborhood.
Suffolk.
No, I went to Sullivan Community College.
You went to Sullivan when they still had dorms.
Exactly. Well, they weren't really dorms. They were old condos that people used to use when they went skiing.
Yeah.
So they gave them to the students, and students rented them out. Well, the parents of the students rented them out.
Sounds pretty cool.
For the semesters, and it was a ball.
Yeah, I can imagine.
They stopped doing that a year before I went to college.
I got kicked out within a semester and a half.
You got kicked out?
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What was the infraction?
The infraction was not going to class.
Yeah, you're basically going to community college and sleeping away.
Exactly. Yeah. My art teacher, he said, I went here. We should send John there because he can do some art there, whatever. He can follow whatever he's doing because he's very good.
And get some traction.
Right. But I wasn't ready. I was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I was like...
That happens to a lot of kids. I mean, you
What,
go to
jerking
college.
off?
No, well, you go to college
and then you just like go crazy.
Because as long as you cut a check, the college doesn't give a shit if you show up or not to class.
Exactly.
No, and the kids are used to having a hall monitor.
Exactly,
or something like that.
a hall monitor. They're used to their
kept in
parents,
place.
saying get the hell out of bed, go to fucking school, blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden you're in college, and you're like, wait a minute, I just went out last night. My first class is at 10 a.m.
Exactly.
Fuck it.
I discovered acid.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stay down.
I'm just gonna stay down, and I'll do the work.
Exactly.
Later.
I discovered acid. That's
all
never
right.
did that before.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
When I was up there. Yeah.
Never done that.
Good trip or bad trip?
Oh, they were all good trips.
Oh, good.
Yeah. First time I ever did it, I was like, wow, this is like crazy. Found myself in some dorm room with like Lucy in the Sky with diamonds and.
Give us the scenario. The first time. So what was your setting?
I don't remember the first time.
Okay. So I mean, a lot of it. So you had good experiences with that.
Yeah.
I've never done it, Mike.
Yeah, I've had
acid.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10, 15, 20.
I've had a lot.
25 times.
I went skiing on acid.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you break something,
Hunter
you're just
Mountain.
going to freak out.
I didn't get off the bunny hill.
You're going to double freak out.
I didn't get off the bunny hill, but.
Oh, you didn't? Okay,
No,
you just
no.
like.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. If you break a bone, you'll just get up and you'll just start freaking out? Hello, Vin.
Oh,
what?
sorry.
I'm sorry. Vin waved to us, so we weren't sure. So is that what happens on that? Or you tell me, Mike. I want to know a little bit about the acid and the...
acid is... I don't know. How do you explain acid? I mean, you just got to try it.
If you've done mushrooms, it's similar, but it's more chemical.
It's more chemical, yeah.
you
Have you ever done
afterwards.
mushrooms?
No.
Right? Yeah.
It just... I believe it opens up another side of your brain.
Okay. All right.
You know?
So-
It allows you to see things differently.
Yeah, you just got to remember it and bring it back.
Exactly.
If you don't bring that, if you don't write it down or
Yeah.
something,
And listen, I wasn't ready to go to college.
forget it.
Okay.
You know? And I got out of there. My dad had to drive up and pick me up.
Oof.
That was a long 3-hour drive home. Not one conversation.
Yeah. He was a quiet type? That's me.
No. He's not the quiet type, but he didn't want to say anything, and I didn't want to say anything.
No, but sometimes
You know?
that's how I would be too. Because some parents, as soon as you get in the car, would be like, "What the fuck?" Blah blah blah.
Oh, that happened already. 'cause
Yeah.
I got my report card home.
If I go silent, then I'm pissed.
Yeah, I got my report card home, and it was all W's, all withdrawals.
Yeah.
My dad called me from down the block. I was down the block with a friend of mine.
He's like, "Thanks for wasting that fucking
Screams,
check."
John, get in this fucking house now.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, your parents can talk to you like that, right?
Oh, they
I
still
knew
can.
I knew I was in trouble, but I didn't know what for.
Gotcha.
The guy came in, threw me against the wall. What the fuck are you doing?
Ooh.
You know.
Threw him against the wall. That's how you did it back in the old days.
That's right.
Yeah, I can't do that now.
Like the movie American
man.
Anthem.
These kids will call the cops on you.
Although
They're like,
I-
"I'll call the police."
Like in the beginning of American Anthem with Mitch Gaylord.
Exactly.
His father breaks his arm.
Yeah.
Fighting in the hallway.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'll leave it alone. Go on.
It was, well, no, I didn't break any bones, but
right.
yeah.
Okay, so you
And-
went through that.
Right. And then I decided to stick around my neighborhood and hang out with the people I was hanging out with and
Okay.
be a degenerate and install carpet for a living.
All right.
So I did that until about the age of 20 or 21. I said, this is not for me.
Right.
And I decided to go back to college.
Hard on your knees, right? The installing
Yeah, it
carpet.
was
You gotta kick
horrible.
that carpet,
but
right?
it was a lot of fun.
Get the seams right.
It was a lot of fun.
You get rolling with a hangover, right?
Oh, hangover.
Yeah.
Forget about
Stay
it.
drunk?
The stories, you have
drunk in
no
the morning?
idea. The stories I could tell about that job.
I'm sure.
Incriminating.
Oh, you have no idea.
Back in the day.
If
So,
these people only knew
okay, wait a minute.
the
Let's.
state of mind that we walked into these people's houses in.
I'm
They
still.
wouldn't let you in.
Oh my God! Like you would eat breakfast and everybody would get in a van,
Yeah.
and just smoke big fat joints.
Really?
You'd have like 5 of them going around, and you'd have all the crews
Yeah.
meet up at the deli. So there's like 20 people in a truck, all
Holy
just sitting there
shit.
smoking, and then you'd go off and you'd play with razor blades and carpet.
Makes you want to check the carpet installers next time. they
Oh,
come
shit.
over to the house.
Yeah.
That's why they stopped installing carpet.
Yeah.
Everybody's
nowadays-
hardwood now.
And then
everybody's
being in
hardwood
people's
nowadays.
homes was always interesting, right?
Yeah.
Weird stuff. Like one story, we were installing some girls' carpet, and we had to rip up the carpet, so you had all her furniture there. It was 3 guys. Mother sitting in the doorway. We moved the bed. There's handcuffs, gel, and dildos.
Whips. Yeah, whips and dills.
And she had 3 strangers find this on her daughter when she's sitting in the doorway. She didn't know what to say. 5 minutes later, who walks in the house? The daughter.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Any
the daughter was like,
interaction?
That's excruciating.
and we were just like 3 guys that were high. We were just like, whatever.
Yeah, we
Where
see
do
it
you
all
want
the
us to
time,
put the
lady.
dildo?
And between you two, the door creaks shut.
Yeah, right?
What are they?
Yeah. I could see that happening.
Yeah. So
So the point is,
very
hide your
interesting.
shit if you're getting
Yeah, if
carpet
you're into
installed.
kinky shit, hide it from your mom for
Yeah.
sure.
pretty much.
Exactly.
And definitely from a guy like John.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So
Or myself. You know,
One
I
other
would- you
story, there was a
wouldn't
crew
want my grubby paws.
that was in a lady's house, and she had this little chihuahua that was biting at the guy's ankles.
Uh-huh.
Can you put the dog away? Yes. 5 minutes later, chewing at his ankles. Can you put the dog away? Next time, you take an S-swing hammer, smash the dog in the head.
Holy shit.
Sean, we don't want to. Where's that one going? I thought maybe kick the dog, something like that.
Literally,
Smash the fucking dog in the head.
Dog
Sean,
dropped dead.
this is a rated PG show.
They put the dog in the toolbox. They brought the dog out of the house.
They killed him.
He killed the dog and then stole it.
Say he kicked it. I was gonna feel bad for laughing at that.
And the lady was calling the carpet store saying, "I think they let my dog out. The door was open. I don't know where my dog is."
That's crazy.
Yeah. If that's the worst she thought of the guys, I guess you're right. They just don't know who's going into their house.
So you don't know who's in your house.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, I got
that is a crazy story. So wait a minute, this guy cracked the dog on the head.
How'd they dispose of it?
That is horrible.
He asked her 3 times to put your dog away.
Oh well, then I get it. Okay, well, you know
3 times you ought to crack the dog in the head and put it in your toolbox.
I say
even if you got to leave like a lineman behind because there's no.
I say a rubber mallet myself.
Oh my God!
Oh, rubber mallet.
That's horrible.
So that's just 2 stories. And
what do you do with the dog?
I did it for 4 or 5 years. I don't know what they did with the dog.
Oh my God!
Maybe concrete shoes. I have no idea.
Well, you're lucky it's
and
a
it was
chihuahua.
like a son and it was a father and his 2 sons that were these big muscle wrestler guys.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh.
So that was only 2 stories within a 4 or 5 year period of doing carpet.
I say
carpet. And that's carpet. And you're
an
art. How long have you been an artist?
20 years. No, I started in 2022.
I want to go back.
I know 2000.
I say we out this guy. What's his name?
2000. I don't remember his name. 2002.
Bruno and Franco. Franco, sorry, no, but Bruno.
2002.
2002.
So after I did carpet, I went back to school. I applied for School of Visual Arts.
Okay.
Didn't get in because my portfolio was not good enough. So then I went to Suffolk Community College.
Wasn't good enough. All right.
Right. So I didn't have what they wanted. Went back to Suffolk Community College. Did 2 years there.
Okay. Did you learn anything particular there that kind of you could hone?
I learned about oil painting.
Okay.
And that changed my life forever.
You graduated from acrylic, right?
Well, no, I was always just drawing and using charcoals and stuff like that. And then I was working with acrylic.
Well, give the audience a little. You just mentioned 3 types: acrylic, charcoal, and oil. So what's fundamentally the difference between those kind of variations? Why would one go in acrylic, one in oil, one in charcoal?
I think it's all personal.
Okay.
Charcoal is the applications are different.
Okay.
Acrylic dries very fast.
Okay.
Right. So for me, I mix all that with a whole bunch of paint. So if I was using acrylic, it would dry. Well, in a matter of seconds.
What do the big, well-known artists usually use?
It all depends.
Okay.
Some people use, feathers. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
There's so much art out there and people making so much different art. Now we're going into AI and, robots and so everything is art. As long as you put it into a gallery and put it on a wall and call it art, it's art.
It's art. Gotcha.
Right? Or else it's something sitting on a desk.
You went back to school.
Yeah.
And you were like, you know what? I did the carpet thing. This shit is not for me.
Exactly.
I want to follow my passion, my dream.
My mother was all excited. My dad was excited. Okay, he's going back to college. Let's just put him through college.
All right.
We'll get him through college. And, I paid for it, but let's at least support him.
Okay.
I think my dad thought I was going to find some other way.
Yeah, you're going to realize that, okay, I'm putting all this time in. Maybe I want to get a desk job.
Maybe I'll find some sort of
maybe
accounting job.
Art teacher or something like that.
Art teacher. Yeah. Something along those lines.
See that?
So I took, at first I went in for interior design, didn't like it. Okay. So then I did graphic design. And when I was there, they weren't really even using Apple computers. It was all hand. So I was really loving that. It was a lot of drawing, a lot of type. All that stuff. And then I took an elective class. It was a free and elective class of oil painting.
Okay.
And that was my last class of Suffolk Community College.
Now, would this be a representation? This is one of John's creations.
You got Jimmy.
Would that be Jimmy. Would that be an oil?
That's an oil painting
representation.
Yes.
Now, give us an idea how that works conceptually. That painting. Are you painting that freehand? Are you taking a photo and painting? Well, I
use a projector.
You use a projector.
So I use a projector only as a tool. And project the image up.
Okay.
And then I trace it out, and then I remove the projector because you can only see so much.
Right. Okay.
And there's a lot of dancing around because you got the projector behind you, right? Yeah. So if you're standing in front of it, you can't see anything.
Okay.
So there's a lot of moving around and getting in there. So then I would do the black and white painting. I would let that dry, and then I would do the dots over it.
The dots over it. Okay.
Yeah. So once that painting dries, then I go and do the dots. I project the dots, And I would sit there probably for an hour blowing the dots up, shrinking them down in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Right. And
seeing what works best?
To see what works best within the composition. Right. If I was to do that just freehand, who knows what it would
number
look like.
and the size, depending on how much you want to take up space?
It wasn't about the number. It was about how it laid over the image. Okay. Right. My idea was like no dots on noses, no dots on foreheads.
Okay.
Right. Because you got Indian, you got clown. Right.
Yes. Understood. Okay. Now that would take you how long creatively to finish, or from start to finish? I mean, if you focus on it. Okay.
Well, I'm always focused. I mean, when I do this, I have like 4 of them going at once.
Okay, so
it's not just one, because it's black and white paint. So I just mix out a whole bunch of black and white paint. I'll do a whole bunch of portraits, lay them out, and then I'll start working on the portraits, and then I mix out a whole bunch of colors, and then I do the colors. I do the dots.
Very, very cool.
And that came from it was inspired, or it was, I don't even know if it was even inspired, but I don't know if you guys know who Damien Hirst is. He's a very famous...
From the Hearst family, or no?
No. He's a very famous British artist.
I thought I'd give it a shot.
He did these spot
That's
paintings,
the only one I had.
which were just dots on white canvas.
Uh-huh.
And there was a...
Is he in the MoMA?
He is in the MoMA. He did the shark in formaldehyde. I don't know if you've ever seen the great white shark.
I have heard of that. I've heard of it. Yep, I've heard of that.
And he used to submerge all kinds of animals in formaldehyde tanks. And the animals were just suspended.
He's a taxidermy.
Well, actually, PETA went after him because they thought that he was submerging them in, alive because of the looks on their faces, right?
Oh.
So he even had one where it was like a brilliant piece, big glass tank with a big glass wall in the middle with a hole in it. One side had a cow's head, the other side had flies.
Oh, wow.
So
That's fucking creepy.
They would fly through, they'd be eating the cow's head, and they'd be dying, and... It's like the circle of life.
Oh.
Within
your little art piece.
Well, it's a big art piece. It's probably the size of this room.
Oh, shit.
It's huge.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool as shit, huh?
Holy shit, yeah.
Yeah, but who does that? Who goes, let's stick a shark in formaldehyde and call it art?
He did.
Listen, he did it, and obviously...
He did it, but don't you think he has to have an in to make it popular?
Well,
like he's got to be buddies with Peggy Guggenheim or some shit.
He was with Saatchi and Saatchi, Charles Saatchi. Supported him.
Okay.
And the whole British movement.
Okay.
It was a bunch of young British artists that he supported, and he did that show. I forget what the name of the show was, but I think it was at the Brooklyn Museum, and that was the one where they had the Madonna on the elephant dung, and it was like a big thing. The mayor was like, I can't believe they put... Madonna painting on elephant dung.
It was a shock value.
It was a shock, right? But he was an African artist, right? He came from an African background, so elephant dung was, looked up as, I guess, in Africa. So that was a whole comment on.
I think that's in India too, right? I mean, elephants are thought of as a sacred kind of a.
I bet you could fertilize your whole garden with one dump.
I believe that was Chris O'Feely, and that exploded the guy. It's like, look at the guy with the elephant dung, and everybody started looking, and people just started buying his work like crazy. Shit. Yeah.
And you'd never think, if someone told you that beforehand, you'd never believe it was going to be a ploy or like a big...
Any criticism is good criticism.
So that leads into some of your influences. Who were some of your earlier people that you looked, or I'm assuming artists follow some type of a path. Like if you're a musician, you look up to, your guitarist, you're probably looking up to some of the greats.
Let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever thought of resorting to gimmicks or
no.
You know what I mean, or doing something like that?
I mean, or promo? This was sort of a gimmick. I mean, what happened was I went into the show.
Yeah.
He was showing Gagosian, which is like the biggest gallery in the world. Uh-huh. He's got 14 or 15 galleries throughout the world. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. He flies around Lear jets, all the biggest artists. It's a commodity. Like he's sort of like dining. Yeah, he's sort of like the Wall Street of the art world.
Gotcha.
And Damien Hirst did a whole bunch of these spot paintings, and or his studio did. He didn't paint them, but his studio painted them, and he had I think it was every single one of the galleries had a show of his spot paintings, and there were like little pieces of paper that you would get clipped.
Okay.
Every time you went to a new show. So there'd be one in like Italy, there'd be one in New York, there'd be one in on another side of New York. There'd be another one in London. So there were collectors and wealthy people flying around the world to go to see the spot paintings and
get their beer ticket clipped.
Get the beer ticket clip. Exactly.
That's pretty. Wow. See, that's pretty cool though. I mean, that's a marketing. That's genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's something awesome. Just wow, it's something to do this weekend, dear.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, let's go.
Jump on the Lear.
Yeah, next thing you know, you got billionaires following you around, and that creates hype, right?
That must be cool.
You're selling everything for $100 grand each.
He didn't need it then. You know, he was already
there.
Well on his way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or he had already made it. He's like a very wealthy.
So he was doing that as sort of a social experiment?
I think it was with the gallery. It was just an idea, concept.
Oh. Cool.
You know, same idea of like submerging an animal into formaldehyde. What can we do with these paintings? I have, 500 of them or whatever. How can we promote them in a cool way?
Who's the guy who, I think he had a skull and he put diamonds all around?
That's Damien Hirst.
That's him? See?
Yeah.
There you go. I knew that. You may not know the guy's name, but you'll
see the work.
Yeah, somehow you'll see the work or whatever it may be. That's
so basically, I went into the gallery and I saw the works, and I had a couple of drinks before that, and I was like, well, these are great, but it would be cool to have like a black and white image. That was the only thing that popped in my head. It was like, these would be great with a black and white image behind it.
Yeah.
Just to give it another
more
layer,
dimension.
More dimension, another layer. So then I went back to my studio and I started making them.
See,
I like how the dots give a certain dimension to the back.
It does.
The painting underneath. You know what I mean?
And you play with mechanical and painting, right? The dots look like mechanical works done by a machine. And then you got the painting behind, so it plays with that whole idea.
Yeah, it reminds me of Beaded Curtain. That you're looking through a doorway and there's Jimmy playing guitar for me.
Exactly.
Just in the living room.
Exactly. So then I go still a beaded curtain or beaded curtain.
A beaded curtain.
So the first show I did was these sort of tragic icons that were, behind this curtain of very beautiful colors. So, like, their life is tragic, but the portrayal that they have within the world is this sort of, like, dolled up, wrapped, beautiful persona.
Yep.
Right?
Marilyn Monroe.
James Dean.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they were just people.
Exactly.
Yeah, they've been really dolled up.
What's Whitney Houston?
Yep.
Right? She was we know her story.
Yeah.
Right? But they'd have to put her out on stage.
She was a rough lady who liked smoking crack.
Right.
But she could sing like an angel.
I know.
And they would have the whole cosmetic team come in and give her new teeth and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So that was like the dots. That was like the beautiful, colorful dots that were.
That's the pageantry.
But you got to get us that point, because we went from college to the show. So how as an artist do within your particular genre try to make those steps and intros to be able to get to a level where you can have your work shown and people start to recognize your work?
Well, I mean, maybe I should go into like, I graduated college, or I was at School of Visual Arts. I got introduced to the whole New York scene, right? I got a job working at Ford Models.
Nothing against your looks, but I find that surprising.
Well, I was working in the accounting department, right? I was doing it while I was going to school just to bring in some money.
I was just kidding.
A friend of mine's uncle was the VP, so he brought me in. I was just going on go-sees, which is like bringing models from out of town around the city, going to different shoots and going to see agents.
I got you. So you're in the Jeep Wrangler cruising around with the DoorDash girl.
It was more like a taxi.
I think I would have stayed right there.
Right.
I would have been still working.
So then I got
me too, man.
Exactly.
I like I made it. I'm good.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
So then I got exposed to that scene, and that was just like Party Central.
Oh, imagine.
And then I got a job working for a printer, Bet Schiffer Fine Printing. So I started printing for high-end photographers. I was printing for Annie Leibovitz. I was printing for...
Ooh, Annie Leibovitz.
Yeah, all these super high-end printers, photographers. So that was like going back to school for me.
You were coming into contact with all this beauty, all this professional quality shit.
Exactly, and I was like going back to school. I was figuring out what made these photographers so great, what was so great about the images.
It's all who you know.
And then I was going into the darkroom, and it was all color dark. So I was really fine-tuning my coloring, which in turn worked with my painting.
Okay.
So one washed into the other.
So were you actively painting at that point?
I was actively painting at that time.
Right.
I never stopped.
No, I'm with you.
I never stopped.
Okay.
And then I did that for about 5-6 years. And then tragically, my mother passed away from asbestos cancer.
Oh,
and I didn't know what it was. So, as I'm finding out asbestos cancer, there's that rowing boat commercial, right?
Yeah.
Asbestos cancer. So I called that law firm up. I'm like, what is this? My mother just passed away, and they were like, well, can we get your name and number? And they came back to us with a settlement. And
really?
Yeah. So at that point, I was like, that was in like 2000.
Mesothelioma, right?
Mesothelioma.
There were a lot of commercials for that. I think the time had run out on that or something.
That was 2001. That was right after 9/11.
Yeah.
And we got a settlement. We all got some money, me, my sister, my dad. And my dad told me to put it in the bank, of course. Go drive a bus, put it in the bank. I said, I'm going to put it into me.
Yeah.
And I went and got a one-bedroom apartment in Battery Park City.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. I locked myself away.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I literally
you went Bob Dylan on it.
I locked myself away for years.
Yeah. Yeah, good.
20 years.
And you utilized that time.
I did literally 7 days a week, 14-hour days, 15-hour days, 25-hour days. There were no 25-hour days, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
It was just...
And time doesn't matter. You got to remember to eat and shit, right?
See, I didn't know you
back in there and start
didn't know
doing
you
it again.
locked yourself away that long. So you basically just concentrate on your craft.
I said, if I'm going to do this, I have to do this.
Yeah.
Like
110%.
You
can't be like, oh, this job sucks, man. I find time for it on the weekend.
Exactly.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen.
Like, I knew what was ahead of me. And to be honest with you, today, I felt much closer back then than I do now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't know. I was like... It was so romantic,
Yeah.
Sitting in your studio, playing music.
That's a
smoking
great
weed,
point.
Yeah.
That's you know what?
When you're naive, it's when you're at your most confident.
Exactly.
Like,
you know what?
I can do this.
Yeah.
Meeting people, sitting there working.
It's
having
great.
some
I'm as good as that fucking asshole. Meanwhile, they're way better than you.
Exactly.
You got
but
a
I knew
ways
that
to go.
I knew that I had to build a body of work.
Yeah.
So I was just super focused on just painting and honing in my skill.
Getting there on the long haul.
Getting there.
So
exactly.
So when did your first quote break come in term? Because I mean I've known John. Wow, we've known each other for what, 10, 15 years probably.
Probably about that.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. And I remember there was a great party that I went down to with our mutual friend who passed. Great guy, but that had to be what, 10, 12 years ago?
That was, when was that? I want to say 2012,
12, something like that. Yeah, somewhere in that time frame. And it was, I want to say it was in Tribeca, right?
It was in Tribeca.
Tribeca, and it was a party that was provided. Well, it wasn't a party. It was more.
It was a promotional. So, okay, so. It was a party thrown by Isaac Ginde. Who owned Century 21 department stores.
Ooh, okay.
Right.
Bigwig,
right?
Ooh, massive money.
He came over to my studio. I mean, literally, I was eating ramen, right? I didn't know where my next check was coming from.
That stuff's good for you.
Studio visit.
Great for
my agent's like, listen, I have these two people come over, a dealer and a collector, don't know who he is. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, great. Like, I was literally, like, at the end. I didn't really care. And they walk in.
He's ding dong. It's a guy with a beard and an eye
suit
patch.
on, and he's all blah, 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 blah. And nice work, da-da-da. This, that, the other thing. He's like, so what do you think? I want to do a... I said, dude, listen, I don't even know who the fuck you are, dude. Like, who are you? You want me to do a portrait of you? You're talking all this shit. I don't know who you are. And that's literally how I spoke to the guy.
Right.
And he kind of came back. He's like, well, I'm Isaac Ginde from I own Century 21 department stores. I was like,
oh, sir.
Okay.
Hi. How can I get you anything?
Okay, great. So at the end of that night, I had sold a 25-foot painting and 7 other paintings to the guy.
Wow. Okay.
Literally.
All right.
Wow.
All right.
Literally. And then he was like, do you want to come back to my apartment and see where your painting's going to hang? And I was like, I just want to see where you live. I don't really care. You can put my paint in the closet.
Yeah,
I just want to know where you live.
Take a leak in the bathroom.
I've been in your store many times. I've shuffled through your clothing. I just want to see where you live, right? Because he was a big part of my life, living down in the city.
Yeah,
down
Century
at Wall
21.
Street, Century 21.
Spent many a time
right there.
Street,
You know, it was like always a journey going into that place. You never know what you're going to find. You know, hangovers.
Yeah.
You know, just in that place, just searching for clothes.
Yeah.
So I was like, I just want to see where the guy lives, you know. So we went back there, and that's when I sold this big 25-foot painting. He was redoing his whole apartment. He had this big concave, like half-barrel ceiling in his apartment.
Ooh.
And he was like, well, what would you do up here? I said, I don't know, like a trompe-l'oeil sky, just joking around. And he was like, no, really. So I gave him an idea. He said, okay, it's yours. Like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Bang.
Yeah,
Bang.
I'm assuming the apartment
Bang.
was pretty
Exactly. We drove back in
pretty
High end,
intense,
yeah.
pretty high end.
We drove
Nice.
back in his chauffeur-driven, you know, Mercedes. And then
Like I've made it. I could get addicted to heroin.
literally,
now.
like,
I know
I've
exactly.
arrived.
literally, I was like, I didn't have money to pay the rent. You know, I probably owed 3-4 months of rent. To
got
be
it.
honest
There it
with
goes.
you.
See, it just takes.
Yeah, they're
that
ready
one
to lock
little-
you out.
One
You
little
know,
click.
and then it was like it was on. Sold a whole bunch of
Hey.
paintings to the guy.
Yeah.
And then he wanted to promote his painting, so we threw. It was probably, I don't know, maybe $150,000 party.
Yeah.
It was
Nice.
Nice.
You know, catered.
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio was there.
Oh,
Ed
really? You rubbed
Burns
elbows
was
with
there.
Leo?
I didn't really speak to him.
Spike Lee was there.
Spike Lee was there. There was a lot of
cool.
people.
Yeah.
My dad shit his pants walking in that place.
Yeah. See, that's cool.
He was like,
Literally?
That's when you're like,
he
Dad,
didn't-
see, fuck
he
you.
didn't- No, he was like, oh
Yeah.
my god, like it was a red carpet. There was a guy down there with security with guns. They had violinists playing.
Ooh.
They laminated the whole floors. They brought in furniture.
Yeah.
Holy
They had
shit.
they had the people sculpt, you know, where they just sit there and they're like painted and shit like that. You know?
Yeah.
It was
Really?
crazy.
Yeah. I
Like
don't
living
I don't even get-
sculptures?
Yeah, the living
Like-
sculpture thing. It
It
was crazy.
crazy.
It's a great time.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Fucking cool as shit.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I would always like, because I used to paint, you know, and I sucked. That's what I would have always hoped for.
Yeah.
But what I always kind of, you know, like a New York City opening, that or really a low key minimalist one.
Yeah. Well, this was like super high scale. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it was something else.
Yeah, throwing the
I was like, holy
kitchen
shit.
sink at it.
So that led to obviously opportunity. Now, one thing that I'm always fascinated by is how artists and their artwork is valued. Like, you know, you set price points based upon what you've sold in the past.
Right now I do, but when you're first starting out, you just put a price up on the wall and see what somebody pays for it.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Like, okay, so this is a size. Like, you know, I started work with a private dealer when I was living in Battery Park City, and we set a price, and the client would say, "Okay, I'll do it for this price." Okay, great. You
Right.
sold a painting for $10,000.
Okay.
I
All right.
never knew I would sell a painting for $10,000. Great.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll take that. You know,
Sure.
it helps to pay some rent. I get some money in the bank. Maybe that'll lead to something else.
Right.
Then I started doing portraits. One of my dealers was very connected within the
Right.
Manhattan, you know, social scene. So I started doing portraits of wealthy people's kids,
Ooh, nice.
which is horrible.
It is.
He's like,
These
"Who
rotten
knows?"
kids.
Well, no,
Or
because
no?
you can never make a parent happy.
Well, that's true.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
don't you? His nose isn't flattering.
I know.
It's like your kid's nose is
the head's,
disgusting.
the forehead's
You
too
got it from
big.
you.
His eyebrows don't look like that. His lip
looks
doesn't
fat.
look
Well,
like
he is
that.
fat.
Yeah, your kid's fat. I'm sorry. No, he's large. He's husky. You know?
Exactly. So it
kid's
was
fat.
it was very it wasn't worth
A lot of
the
fickle
money.
parents, huh?
A lot of fickle parents, and it wasn't worth the time and the exhaustion and the stress.
Yeah.
Wasn't worth the money that
Then it just becomes
we
a
were
job.
getting paid. It was literally a job, and I said, I'm not doing these anymore.
Gotcha.
Can't do them anymore.
Yeah.
You know.
I could see. Well, I could
It's
see
not
that.
fun. The last one was a commercial for some guy in L.A. Not in L.A. It was in Santa Barbara.
Okay.
Multi-billionaire.
Right.
Flew us in, photographed the kids, and photographing the kids. They weren't paying. They were like horrible. Like
The kids.
they would be picking on the sister, and they were young kids. They'd be sitting on, they'd picking on the sister be crying. I'm like, I just got to get a photograph of these kids, right?
Yeah.
Father's behind me. I didn't know. He's sitting there mooning the kids so the kids would laugh.
Oh, wow.
Right? And I'm just
like a billionaire mooning his
goes
kids.
all the way up.
And,
right? They're running around with fucking spoons.
That
was new money.
In their ass.
This guy was super cool because he was like, he told me, he said, listen, he said, I used to have a shack on the beach. Now I have this huge business. He said, I'd rather be that guy on the beach right now.
Yeah, bullshit.
He said life was much easier.
Yeah.
It's much simpler, right? Yeah.
Much simpler.
Yeah, because now he's got a ton of money.
Now he's got a ton of
money. His
money.
wife's probably a horror.
Well,
Not a whore.
She was
Not
super
horror.
nice.
I thought you said whore.
She was super nice.
No,
But I can only,
you know what?
I can only imagine.
Know.
He was in real estate.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
You moved on from the portraits of the rich kids,
exactly,
and all that good stuff. So
exactly, and I think before that, I even had a show in Canada, which I did. It was a series based off of these mannequins in the Fifth Avenue windows.
Okay,
right. So it went back to the fashion photography that I was doing. How can I do fashion photography as painting?
Yeah,
I don't have models.
Yeah,
I don't have the jewelry. I don't have the clothing.
Yeah.
I don't have any access to this stuff. So where can I find that?
Yeah.
So I was walking down the street during Christmas time on Fifth Avenue, and I started photographing the Macy's windows and the Bergdorf Goodman windows, and said, "Holy shit! Like,
there you go.
I have material right here.
Yeah,
it's all material. Even the mannequins are material.
I can see that.
Right?
Yeah.
So I had all this beautiful lighting. It was all set up for me. You got to go at nighttime. During the day, you have all the reflection.
Yeah.
So you got to go at nighttime. I'd smoke some weed. I'd walk through. I'd be photographing all these mannequins. I'd go home. I'd sift through them, and I made a whole bunch of paintings based off of the mannequins.
Voila.
I
tell you what, though. I mean, you got to have a creative mind to really, really be able to put something out there that people are going to
the whole show, it sold out in Canada.
I can imagine. I bet.
They sold all the paintings.
Yeah. But, being an artist, that starving artist kind of thing.
And my dad came for that also.
Well, that's good.
Right.
But as an artist, like you were saying, you never thought you'd sell a painting for $10,000. That doesn't probably happen every day.
Never thought I'd sell a painting.
So it's got to be a fine line as an artist to say, you know what, creatively, I don't want to set because my parameters, let's say if I'm starving, I'm going to be like, you know what, but I'm not an artist.
But
you're creative. You're like,
I've been there.
The guy wants.
What do? You drop
wants
your
to give me
pants in
500.
silence? Tell the guy, I'm selling this to you, but we're not going to list anything.
Exactly.
Yeah,
don't tell anybody, but I need to pay rent. Yeah. I need to put some food on my table.
Gotcha.
Oh, you're on.
I need to.
So there's no more gimmicks employed at that point.
I don't tell them that, but because
Gotcha.
you don't want your collector to know that you're starving, even though
that
they know
literally
you're starving.
Yeah.
You know.
You want to portray that I'm good.
Right. But if it's a collector that I've known for a while, we've become.
You should call up one of those rich guys and be like, "Look, man, I can't pay my fucking mortgage."
Believe me, I've done it.
Boom, hit it right.
Well,
buy my painting.
Rent, right?
Yeah.
So and that's why.
Guys who owe you money, right? I'm talking about someone you want a commission from.
A little tip out there: if you want to be an artist, live in New York.
See, okay. You want to be an artist? Live in New York.
Live in New York. Why? Because you can skip on rent, right? I went down to Florida.
They can't
and
evict
lived
you in New York.
Right.
Yeah.
So I went down to Florida.
He's right.
I went into Florida. I went down to Florida, and they're so Republican, and
they'll kick you right in the street.
In this 15 fucking days, man, you shits on the lawn. So I was living in stress.
Yeah.
Living in stress. In Manhattan, okay, rent, put it on the side, whatever, rent, put it on the side.
Isn't that crazy, though? But it's true, though.
Go to court.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It just
you can live in Manhattan 2 years for free or some shit like that.
Go to court.
I'm moving to Manhattan.
So when do you think
they pay you to get out of the fucking apartment?
Even better.
Yeah. Exactly.
This New York City you speak of,
so when do you think you can pay? When do you think you can pay the rent? I don't know. Do you think you can cover it in 5 months? Sure. No problem.
Bang.
Bang, bang. And then a sale would come in. Every time the landlord would call me, I'm like, I'm waiting for a check. Waiting on a check.
That's crazy.
And that just means I'm waiting for a collector to come in to buy a piece of fucking art.
There we go.
Oh, that's great. Live in New York.
So,
right?
And it's inspiring.
And it's inspiring.
New York's beautiful.
Well,
every corner.
Exactly.
Every corner.
I used to walk those streets, man. Yeah. I loved that city.
Yeah.
What tips are you... If you were a starting artist at this point, have you seen the industry change? how does
it's always changing. Yeah.
Right, but how does one know creatively? Because, it's just like a Corey Feldman kind of thing. The guy's out there singing, playing, he sucks ass, but he always thinks he's
awesome.
He's so bad, he's good to me. I love watching him because it's a train wreck. But he consistently goes in that direction. As an artist, how do you know, I guess, if you're good? Is it basically the feedback you're getting of people buying these paintings? Because you've seen some shit out there, I'm assuming, that people have bought for large amount of monies that you're like, I don't get it, right? So,
well, there's a lot of people that are sitting with work that, see, a lot of people buy with their ears instead of their eyes, right?
Okay.
So
what does that mean?
That means this is the hot thing, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
Buy this artist, blah, blah, blah. But it's crap.
Yeah.
Right?
It usually is, right?
Yeah.
It's picked in order to make some kind of...
The thing is, there's so much art out there. Back in the day, like Warhol days, it was like a New York scene. There was a London scene, right? Now it's a world scene.
Here you could actually touch the scene. You could be there in the scene.
The internet has exploded everything.
But now
Things have changed. True. Instagram, people don't need galleries anymore.
Sure.
You can overnight wonder,
Yeah.
But the thing with digital is... a lot of people buy digital without even seeing work, which I don't understand. How do you buy a piece of art for $12,000?
I have no idea. Someone told me about this.
Just off of a digital image without actually seeing.
You have nothing
the work.
tangible.
And
nothing material.
Exactly.
Nothing.
When you receive the work, it looks nothing like the digital image.
That.
Yeah, and they're paying tons for it.
And they're paying a lot of money.
I know a guy who's collecting it.
It was a big
and
thing.
I'm like, I thought it was kind of like Beanie Bears or something.
COVID was a big...
or Beanie Babies.
With COVID, a lot of people started doing that.
You two have not even discussed. Mike is an artist. Mikey, he had Wolfgang Studios for a period of time.
I was a painter. Yeah, I called myself Wolfgang.
Yeah.
That's kind of pretentious.
Oh,
I was pretty fucked up at the time. I think I was working out issues about my dad.
Well, aren't we all?
Yeah. I worked him out, though. So then I quit painting. No, that never ends.
See,
but I did work out major issues. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it was always trying to prove my dad wrong.
Okay. I got you there.
It was fuck
that's
you.
That's a motivational thing.
Totally motivational.
Yeah, anybody tells you can't do something, it should be a motivational
He would tell me that I get in front of girlfriends. Because when my mother died, he'd have a girlfriend, over a dinner table.
No, that's a little.
And the funny thing is
you're like, are you fucking serious right now?
The funny thing is
I know, right?
Come on.
I would go out and I would see his girlfriend. She wouldn't say anything to me, right? It was like, whatever, you're the artist's son, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. She came to that fucking opening at Century 20 Apartment Stores. You know who I got a phone call from the next day?
The pics.
Yep,
that lady.
Oh, that lady.
Yeah. My dad's girlfriend.
Yeah.
She didn't pay me any attention until she came to a show where DiCaprio was there.
Leo there.
And it's the only department stores and there's champagne flowing.
Then it changes, right?
Changes.
Human statues, violins, laminated floor.
Different perspective of that person.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like,
well, that's got to feel good because that's like winning the champ belt.
It was like winning the champ belt.
At least in front of the old man, right? And that's
exactly.
Now, was the
old
man after that incident? Was he more like
he was always
opened up a little more?
It was always like, okay, when's the next sale?
Oh, okay.
And actually, Isaac actually spoke to my dad when we were out there, and he at the event.
Oh, okay.
He said, "You need to support your son. He's amazing."
Oh, okay.
Wow. And my dad was like, "Oh,
fuck you."
Oh. Sure, it's like a billionaire, right? Telling the old man, wants you to be more financially
Yeah, you need to support him.
Your dad should have been like, "No, you need to support him. You
exactly.
You need to write me a check right now.
Exactly.
Use my bag. I have a pen."
I was glowing at that moment.
Yeah.
That's a victory, man.
It was
that's a big
small
one.
Victories, man.
It was big though.
Small victories.
So something like this, John. What's the create? This is
brand new. This was part of. It started out as this.
Okay.
And then it grew into something much bigger.
Okay.
Which I couldn't stand. Which I still can't stand because it's still up on my wall, and I'm still working through that idea.
Now, would this be a contemporary kind of a?
Well, everything's contemporary.
See, I just know that.
Contemporary is something being made.
More than I do.
Is being made today, right?
Right. Okay.
Or I it's such an ambiguous.
But are you still using a projection kind of a component here? Or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Projecting, and I've in 2000 when I was in Florida, I stepped away from the square canvas. Like I was building these big, sort of monumental board pieces where I would just go to Home Depot because I had no money, right? So I couldn't buy canvas, I couldn't buy stretcher bars. So I go to Home Depot and I would buy these 4-foot by 8-foot Luan boards. I got for $13.
Yeah.
I'd have them cut them up. I'd transport them back to the house, and then I would just start building these structures on the wall.
Ingenuity.
I
like it.
Oh, cheap enough, good, solid
I don't even know
material.
if it's ingenuity. I guess it would be desperation, maybe.
Yeah,
Well, it usually gives birth to ingenuity.
Exactly.
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 Or
It's
necessity, mother of invention.
I had to paint. Like, I remember, like, I had no money, and I found this big roll of background paper.
Yeah.
Big roll of white background paper. I took that shit, man. I cut it up. I gessoed it, and I painted on it.
There you go.
And I did a whole bunch, and I had no money, so I would just use black and white paint.
Yep.
So I just did black and white paintings.
But how do you,
on paper?
I like black and white. I shoot
So
my
do I.
movies in black and white.
Black and white is awesome.
if you're pricing something like this out, are you pricing your time? Or are you
No,
pricing?
no. It's priced by the size.
By the size. Okay.
Yes,
So
the
it's
size.
not by the particular piece. Like you're like, man, this is like one of my better. Like,
No.
you know, a musical artist may go like, this song is going to be my first single. You know, so it's probably going to garner more.
See, I don't even look at it that way.
Oh, see, I didn't know how it works.
I just make work.
Okay.
I look at myself as a maker of things.
So a size of this,
and when it pops, it pops on
And
its
for
own.
me, it's all about the process. It's just about the process. Just getting in the studio and working.
So-
and it's hard days and like days that I can't even see through the trees, and it's just like any other job. You go in, you're
self-doubt.
You're fucking hating it, man.
Yeah.
And I'm just like looking at it, and I'm hating it.
But the final product
drudgery.
is great, though. It's
But
amazing.
the final project, but
That's
you
got
gotta
to be
go,
that's got to be a sense of accomplishment.
you got to go
though, right?
through the
Yeah.
shit
I
to
gotta
get,
say,
you know.
So this would take you how long?
That took me, I mean, just this alone was probably about 3-4 weeks.
Okay.
Something along those lines, maybe 5 weeks, because it's a process. Like I started out with this. Actually, it took months because I had painted this on this board probably 7 months ago, 8 months ago, and it just sat in my studio. And I did nothing with it.
Really?
And then I just picked it up one day and I just put a cleat on the back and I put it up on the wall and I started painting it in again. And then I started cutting up all these pieces.
How do you get the ideas as to where to place these different pieces and how to cut the sizes of the pieces? 'Cause they're unusual.
They're just pieces laying around the studio from other pieces that I cut up.
And there's a right spot
And
for them.
I'll just take it and I'll hold it up and I'll say, oh, this works here, this works here. Put a screw in. That doesn't work. Take the screw out. Put it somewhere else. Put the screw in. Patch up that hole. So it's all search and discovery.
I gotcha. Cool.
Really. It's a journey. Like, I don't have anything planned out. Nothing's planned out. Like, this is planned out, right?
Yeah.
This is not planned out. This is like, okay, I have this face.
We're going here. Okay, we're going to use black on the side.
What
right?
what am I going to do here, right? And I even incorporated a little piece of a dot painting up here.
Yeah,
just bringing back old work into new work. Right?
So this piece right here, what would this let's say from a range retail for? What would you
like 7,500?
Okay.
You know,
gotcha.
Give or take. But it was part of a much bigger piece that grew out.
Okay.
And I just couldn't figure it out. I was like,
it would have kept going.
It
or
just
something?
became too busy, and it's like there was no room for the eye to rest.
Too busy.
Like,
it's time to.
Everything was just
close in.
It was just a whole bunch of pieces sort of screwed together, all these shapes.
Yeah.
And then each shape had its own thing going in. Like it wasn't a continuous image.
Cool.
So
Okay.
it was just like I was looking at. I'm like, okay,
it was
my
like a
eyes,
succession of images.
exactly, and I just couldn't round it all together. I couldn't tie it all in. Right.
Yeah, without it being too busy.
Exactly.
You don't want
without it
something
being
too busy, man.
right? How do I tie it all in together?
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out. I'm still working on it now. Like, so I took this, I removed it, put it up on the wall. My wife looked in, she's like, "Well, that's great, just like that."
Sure.
I said, "You know what? I'm gonna just keep this piece like that because I started out with this piece and I started growing something out of it,
And you were thinking
and
too
now
much.
I'm back into just making this piece."
Boom.
Right. So now I'm figuring out the other piece. So now
Right. So you evolved outward then backward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had to go around the circle to get back to
Where you started.
where I started. Exactly. But you got to
But
go
it
through
was
the
valuable.
process.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The process is that valuable.
Exactly. It's like an album, right? Like,
Yeah.
like you asked me about artists. Like I think of myself as like I would love to paint like Eddie Van Halen plays fucking guitar.
Yeah.
You know, like Jimi Hendrix plays guitar.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
I get you, Mike. Where did your your creative process flow from in terms of when you were doing your paintings?
Oh, when I was painting, I'd be inspired. Do I guess portraits of movie posters, actors.
There you go.
Or friends. I'd make friends sit.
All right.
But honestly, the reference from like hitting pause on a movie, a little better than asking a friend to sit.
Exactly.
You can see the difference.
And you have
your
the
friend
still
sitting
image.
there is a little more, yeah.
You know, you don't have somebody moving, and then you got to bring them back another day.
Yeah.
You know, I did a lot of film stills.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
A lot of
Love
film
to see
stills. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of them.
But it's just I don't know. I guess I drew them from enjoyment.
Well, you still have artwork, though, right? I mean, where is it? Is
somewhere.
Didn't you say? I mean, you have them.
Yeah, I have a bunch of paintings in my buddy's attic.
There you go. All right. Yeah. See, I knew it. I knew you had artwork somewhere. I'm sure did you secure those well? Because if not, will an attic taint a painting, or can you get it?
It depends. What kind of coke attic? What kind of
I was an attic when I painted them.
In an attic.
Oh, in an attic.
In an attic.
Oh, okay.
So my point is, how did you secure them?
Still an attic of variety.
Did you put plastic over the paintings and all that shit?
You should.
No. And that's partially why I quit is hauling them around. This is the most intimidating
thing. Oh, dude, you have no idea.
You got to keep your shit nice. I'd leave it on top and then you peel it off of each other and shit. Fuck it.
I remember in your office.
I
should have took 2 or 3 of those
that I'm dragging along with me. It is like sometimes I wish I was a writer. I just have a book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I am just like to
pages
move.
You could just stuff under things.
Or to go find an apartment in the city. It's like I have fucking 10-foot paintings. Like, how the fuck am I getting this into the apartment? I can't get into an elevator.
And then you got to keep them out of weather, right? Because larger paintings will kind of contort on themselves, right, over time if you don't keep them. Yeah.
The temperature change. Yep. Like, you can sell something here, and somebody buys it in Florida or somewhere else, the painting will warp a little bit because of the humidity.
Gotcha.
Right? But usually wealthy people who usually buy art.
They mount nicely.
They usually have a controlled...
environment,
right? Like, I love it at like 70 degrees. So they'll pay whatever it takes just to have the house at like 70 degrees with the right humidity, right?
Oh, gotcha.
So, the wealthy people have the
So if they can afford it, they can keep the same climate that you kind of made it in.
Exactly. They're not like me where like I have my fireplace going, I'm worried about the oil.
Sure, it's going between like 56
freezing
and
in the morning and then exactly.
Or forced hot air from the 70s.
It doesn't range like 20 to 30 degrees throughout the day.
Yeah, I got you.
See, it's crazy though. You're doing, and when you think about it, you're doing what you love to do, your passion, but you're relying on people at the end of the day who have the means to purchase your artwork, who are usually those fucking affluent, Wall Street hardworking people, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's almost like the reverse because you never wanted to be those people because you wanted to be creative, but yet those people are the ones who actually have the means to buy your work. I find that a little ironic.
I want to be those people.
Well, you want to be those people monetarily,
Once you start selling them,
I want to be successful.
Get that. Sure.
I want to be able to be comfortable.
Yeah.
I want to be able to make choices. Like if I want to go somewhere, I want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to look at my bank account and say, shit, I can't go get that taco.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know what it is. You probably you have your ups and downs, ebbs and flows, highs and lows.
Such hills and valleys.
Yeah, I can see that.
Such hills and valleys.
That's got to be tough. It's almost like
I'm
working
so used to it.
It's a commission job, basically.
I'm so used to it.
You got to sell your artwork.
Yeah,
obviously.
I mean, listen, I take on side jobs and stuff like that, but it's like, but I just want to be in the studio.
Yeah.
And like, living in New York, I was single. It's like, I didn't care.
Yeah.
All I wanted to do was make art. I threw away calendars. I got rid of clocks.
Well, you find there's much more pressure being an artist in married life? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but
my wife is super cool. I mean, I love her. And she's so supportive.
I mean, do you put more pressure on yourself?
Of course.
Yeah.
You want to be that guy that supports.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, mortgage comes up. But listen, something always comes in.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's my mother up there looking down. I don't know what it is. But something always comes in. Always.
Fantastic.
It's just you don't know when.
Yeah.
So you're constantly in a world of influx. So,
sure. From butterflies to shit in your pants.
Well,
right?
that's
basically
that leads to an interesting point. A lot of these artists, such as you mentioned, Damien Hirst, you have to also be able to sell yourself, or you got to be able to market yourself.
Yes.
Which a lot of artists probably out there are not very. They probably don't like that part of it because they're creative.
Although some do.
So it's a little. It's.
Well, Damien Hirst he was all about selling himself.
Well, there you go.
This guy.
Okay, so he was more of a promoter than an artist?
Yeah, he's a genius.
Yeah.
At least I think so. I mean, some people think he's, whatever.
A gimmick?
Yeah.
Well, it's always debatable in the art world, isn't it?
Blah, 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 blah. But
it's all taste.
To take a shark and put it into a tank and look at life and death and formaldehyde and
or let's say it is a gimmick. The guy pulled it off.
He did pull it off.
Let's say, if you did believe it was a gimmick. So you got to appreciate
he pulled
that,
off
too.
A lot. Actually, going back to the Occupy Wall Street.
Yeah.
Right? When what was that, 2008, when everything dumped.
Yeah.
Right? That guy sold fucking $250,000. No, I think it was almost $500,000 worth of work at Christie's in New York. And the whole market dumped. He took all his work from the galleries and sold it himself. He didn't even do it through the galleries.
Oh, wow.
He brought it to Christie's by himself and sold all his work, and he made all the money.
Wow.
There you go.
And he had his galleries.
You're cutting out what they tell you need.
Right. And on top of that, the galleries had to keep the prices up because they got the clientele's already there. He's already part of the market. So his galleries are calling up and bidding on the work to keep the work up.
Wow.
The price up, and then to get it to a certain price, and then they would just okay, I'm done. Hang up the phone. I got it at that point.
Wow.
That's crazy.
To keep the price up.
They're working it. Yeah, it's actual work to keep the value up.
Exactly.
The guy, otherwise he'll drop out in popularity and his shit just drops 20% value.
But I think he's already set, so it's
So he's just in it because he wants to stay in the game or what?
Well, yeah, he's an artist.
Yeah.
Now he's making paintings.
How old is he?
I don't know, maybe 50s, 60s.
Oh, so he's fairly young.
Fairly young.
Or you can go the Thomas Kincaid route. Remember him?
Yeah.
I see a lot of everybody goes, "Ugh," but at the end of the day, that guy made a fortune.
Yeah, but I heard he was miserable.
Oh, that's
It's sort of like who's the American Jesus, I can't remember his name. He lived up in Massachusetts or Maine. He did all the New York Post covers.
Right. Okay.
I can't remember this guy's name.
not Rockwell, right?
Rockwell.
Oh, okay. Rockwell,
Norman Rockwell. Yes, he wanted to be de Kooning. Like, he was so disappointed in his career. He was super successful, but he wanted to be a fine artist, right? He didn't want to be a commercial artist. He wanted to be an illustrator. And he was a fucking brilliant painter.
Really?
Like, you go and take a look at those paintings. This guy knew what the fuck he was doing. Like, it was so...
So it wasn't his primary...
so effortless.
Yeah. Yeah, Rockwell paintings are just like...
so
everybody
effortless.
knows. Even if they don't know Rockwell, they know Rockwell paintings.
Exactly.
Coke ads or...
Exactly.
Whatever.
But you see the paintings in person, and they're just like the application. It looks so effortless. It's like, it's like a Van Gogh. It's like so effortless.
Yeah.
Like, it's like it's breathing.
Yeah, they're charming. The interactions that he has between like child and dentist and shit like that.
He was a great composer.
Well, let me get back to Kincaid. What? Because you hear that a lot. He gets a bad rap, but what?
Well, he's just a commercial artist. I mean,
so what's wrong?
Why? See, that's the whole thing. Is there's so many different art worlds, right? You got highly commercial work, you got commercial work, and then you got like contemporary fine artwork, which is in galleries, right? Which would never be a commercial piece, right?
Right. But he made a boatload of money, that guy.
But he's also gone, right? He passed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What do you think of Bob Ross?
I loved Bob Ross.
Me too. I still watch him.
I was like, how do you make those trees, dude? Like a
He's
lake,
just scraping them out real quick, and it looks good.
Yeah, I remember sitting on my couch at home, like smoking weed and watching Bob Ross paint, like just like everybody else in the world, right? Like, whoa, how the hell did you just do that? 15 minutes and I got a fucking beautiful landscape.
Yep.
Like he was inspiration.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and his attitude towards art is probably one of the greats.
Like, as somebody living out in Long Island and didn't have museums, didn't have anything. Like Channel 13, Bob Ross.
Yep.
Pal, here you go.
Yeah, and he's your friend.
You know, draw the dog in the TV, guide.
I don't remember watching him
or the
much.
turtle head.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, wait a minute. The turtle head. I did that and sent it in.
Who didn't?
Yeah. And
I
he
did
almost got arrested for the turtle head that he did.
I never got a response. I thought I
actually
did very
drew it
well too.
He drew it with a turtle head.
Exactly.
There was like a prize for that or something.
There was
wasn't
a prize.
Yeah, something like that.
Like who
Covering
didn't
the book
draw
around
that, right?
That's true. I thought I was the only one who did it, but I guess a lot of people did that.
Yeah,
huh?
and then getting exposed to the art world, I was like, wow, this is like, it was genius. I loved it.
I just remember he had a big afro.
Oh, Bob. We're back to Bob. I thought we were still talking TV Guide. I'm like, man, TV Guide had that great of an impact on you.
Well, it did. I drew so many characters and portraits out of the TV Guide.
Yeah, and it's probably, aside from coloring books, one of the earliest things you're constantly exposed to.
Exactly. Exactly.
So if people wanted to see your work or reach out, what's the best way to get in contact?
You can just go onto my website.
Okay. Or you can
JohnGrande.com.
Or we're going to put a link on our website. They can reach out to us. We'll reach out to John.
Exactly. You guys get a commission.
We'll flash it.
Yeah. We get a little.
Let's get a verbal agreement on the percentage right now.
I have. I actually have some work up right now in East Hampton.
In East Hampton, okay.
At White Room Gallery.
Okay.
In East Hampton. I just delivered them on Wednesday.
Very cool.
It was a long drive.
I bet.
I bet.
It was what, 3.5 hours?
16-foot truck.
That's part of the gig, John.
I had to go...
go make that dollar.
I had to go into Port Authority to pick up a sculpture, which I have work at also. I have work at Port Authority. It's been there since June.
Is it getting touched at all? Or is it behind something?
No, it's in a glass 2,000 square foot space that they gave me.
That's cool as shit.
So I have probably about 10 paintings up and a sculpture. The gallery out east wanted with a sculpture that was there, so I had to drive into the city, pick up that sculpture, bring another sculpture, deliver that sculpture, pack it back into the truck, and then drive through the city, 59th Street Bridge, all the way out to the Hamptons.
So you got to map it out right.
I got out there by 3 o'clock, had to install the work, ate some dinner, drove back by 6, and I was probably home by like 10:30 at night. So.
Damn.
It was a
life of an artist.
Day.
A life of an artist.
Yeah. And that's another thing. It's like being an artist, people think you just paint, right?
You're hauling your shit around.
You need to know how to handle the work. You know how to pack the work, how to store the work, how to transport your work. They don't teach you stuff in college.
Not for me.
You know, unless you've made it or you have very wealthy parents that can just handle all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you need to know all this stuff. Like, I go into studios because I used to do art moving for a living. And, you see people with paintings leaning against each other. Like, people think that a painting is solid. It's not. It's like a canvas. Yeah. It's upholstered, right? So if you're leaning it up against the corner, you're going to get a ding.
Yep.
It's going to be pressed in. A lot of people don't. They just think put it against the wall.
Yeah.
It's process and just learning and learning and learning.
Handling, trading, and shipping.
It's like when you go see a concert, you don't see the work that's going behind setting up the shit.
That's right.
I mean, breaking up.
You don't see the roadies all hung over, fucking falling off scaffolding and shit.
Yeah.
You just see the guy playing a solo.
Exactly. Saying, man, I want to be that guy.
Yep.
Well, guys, I think...
well, that guy's wife just left him and his daughter hates him. She's getting back at him by banging some...
Yeah, but he's doing what he loves.
That's true.
Vince doesn't care about that other shit.
Vin's giving us the...
At least I don't think he does.
What do we got,
no,
Vin?
Probably not.
Okay.
Wow,
that went quick, huh?
It did go quick. I think that about sums up. I mean, any other thoughts? How are you at promoting yourself at these events? You know what I mean? Because you got to do that, right?
Well, the gallery does it.
Okay, so you're okay. You don't have to be like, well, I was thinking this.
And that's another thing is that I've learned in the past. Like, you step on toes and those toes walk away, right?
Yeah.
Or you get scolded by those toes.
Yeah.
You kind of in the back.
Yep.
The gallery, you can sign the work to the gallery. The gallery handles all that stuff.
Gotcha.
And even if a collector sees a piece there,
Yeah.
they'll sometimes just contact the artist. You need to tell them to go back to the gallery.
What is
If that gallery finds out,
protocol? You're not doing side deals.
It's just decency.
Gotcha.
What does the gallery usually get?
50%.
They get 50%.
50%.
Wow. See, okay.
Private dealers take 25.
So
negotiable.
This is the Al and Mike podcast gallery today. So
yes.
we're the gallery. But listen, we are basically almost out of time, guys.
I hope I answered the questions.
No,
you did. I don't have any other questions.
No, I thought that was great. Thanks for coming in and sharing.
Yeah, thanks for being
a little
on, John.
bit
Thanks
about
for being candid.
What you do, how you do it, and I hope this gives any artists out there. Hopefully, you guys, have learned a little tidbits from John's journey. And JohnGrandeStudios.com. Is that correct?
It's JohnGrande.com.
JohnGrande.com.
Yes.
And again, you can reach out to us. We'll put a link up.
And you can find my merch on Pleasure's Coming on Instagram.
Pleasure's Coming.
Yes.
Pleasure's
is coming.
I love that.
We're good.
Oh, how's that spelled?
COMING.
Okay.
Wait, we've been Pleasure. What the hell's wrong with you? Mine's in the gutter, John.
Guys,
I is.
Mike,
I yes.
We gotta take this out.
We'll take it out. Like us on. No, we don't go there.
We could do that.
Right.
You can reach us on all platforms, MikeandAl.com, MikeandAlPodcast.com. Again, thanks for coming today, John. We're going to have a lot more people on in their projective spaces with an entertainment and everything. So great having John on, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thanks, guys.